Welcome back to Heart, the podcast where we talk all things life, if you're new here. But welcome back if you're not. I'm Cicily, and of course I'm here with Sanja. So we start with the episode, life update. How is life?
Life is good. Right now, we have our special guest, Mina, and Mina and I actually just got back from Halloween weekend at IU. We had a really great weekend. Our costumes were really cute. As I talked about in the last episode, we went as Goldilocks and Little Bo Peep. So right now, I'm kind of just recovering from the weekend, and yeah, we have some fun Halloween plans later, so that's about it here. How about you?
I had an intense weekend. I hung up my cleats, so I am officially retired from soccer. Had some fun this weekend. Halloween weekend's always a good time. I changed my costume about what we talked about last episode, and
So did I.
my friend and I dressed up as JoJo Siwa and Ivy Lee Miller, which was really funny. But yeah, it was a good weekend.
Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned, we're here today with Mina, and Mina is my best friend. So the story of how we became friends is actually really funny, but I'm going to let her briefly introduce herself.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Mina. I'm Sanja's best friend. I've never done anything like this, but we've been talking about I'm gonna do a podcast one day. She's like, wait, do you want to be on mine with Cicely? I'm like, yeah, that sounds fun. But I'm an esthetician. I didn't go to college or anything, so I kind of skipped that whole chapter. But yeah, I'm an esthetician, so I'm in the beauty industry and stuff like that, and yeah, can we kind of talk about how
so
we became friends?
As every great friendship starts, Mina and I started off disliking each other. Yeah. We were not friends at first. Hating each other. Yeah. So bad to the point actually one time we were screaming at each other at a party. Yeah. But that's how all the best friendships blossom. Right. And now she's quite literally, I always tell her she's my soulmate in best friend form. As I've talked about in previous episodes, I've had kind of a difficult few months, and I think the one person who was my rock through it all was Mina. But I guess the funny thing about why her and I hated each other was over a boy, of course.
I mean, we were 15 at the time. Yeah. So
it was funny. So I had a little thing for a guy. So we went to different high schools. Mm-hmm. She is from my rival high school, and I had a thing with this guy over the summer in 2016 who happened to be her neighbor.
Yeah, since I was a child.
Yeah, so this is so funny because if he were ever to watch this, he would be like, why the hell are they talking about me?
But hey, that started
it did. It started a beautiful friendship. So of course we just fought over this guy. Not even really fought over him, but I got jealous when I saw that after me and him called it quits, he went for Miss Mina. But that's fine because after that we got over our beef, and then we were always cool with each other. And then when we got in college, we really started, especially the past 2 years, we started to hang out a lot more.
Yeah, we had a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
And we even went to Ball State together, my senior year of high school for Halloween.
My freshman year of college.
Yeah, and just because we had mutual friends, but we never hung out just us two. Yeah. So we always hung out randomly, because we had mutual friends. Mm-hmm. But that's what got us into being best friends.
And I will talk all about her life in this episode, but she did go away for a while, and when she came back we kind of picked up hanging out in groups and stuff. And then one day we really got close through one specific person, and the rest was history. We just became inseparable. And yeah, so I don't know how I survived life before she was my best friend. Even my mom is she keeps you grounded, she's my person to a T. So I'm really excited because we've had some of Cicily's friends on here, which I've literally loved getting to know, but today's my day to shine because I get to bring on my bestie.
And I already love Mina. She brought us coffee. Like, what a sweetheart.
I had to.
So I'm so excited to learn more about you.
Well, I'm excited to tell you guys.
I like to call her or compare her to Hannah Montana because she lives a double life. As you guys can see, she's stunning. She's in the beauty industry. She's a girly girl, but then she's also got a little bit of countryside to her. So yeah, why don't you tell us about living in Wyoming and your childhood a bit?
So pretty much I was born here in Indiana. My dad, like both my parents were born in like Chicago area, but my dad grew up in Wyoming. Like he went to high school there, like he like worked there in his 20s, and he ended up coming back to Chicago and met my mom. Was it not on the whole time?
Yeah, sorry guys.
So, you know, my parents met, they had me and my brother, and I was born out here, but when I was about like 3 years old, we all moved to Wyoming, and my dad has family out there, so his parents live out there, his brothers, like, he has family, so like my cousins live out there and stuff. So my first memories of life were like in Wyoming, and I was 3 until you're in like what, first grade? Like how old are you in first grade? Like 6 or 7? I don't even know. But I was living there. I met my childhood best friend there, and then my parents ended up getting a divorce, so we moved back here, like me, my mom, and my brother. And ever since then, it's been literally like back and forth. Like I've spent every single year, like every summer in Wyoming. Like I have family, I have friends. And then my brother ended up moving there his sophomore year of high school, so it's just kind of been like a split for like my whole life. And then I ended up moving there my sophomore year of high school to live with my dad, and I just didn't like it because the two, like there and here, is like two completely different places to live and like to like experience life. Like there's just no correlation like whatsoever. Like even with the schooling, like school out here was so much harder than like school out there, and like it's just two completely different things. And like my brother loved it, like he's still there to this day, but like I've just been so like back and forth my whole life. Like you said, like I kind of went away for like a couple months when we started becoming friends. After I graduated high school, I ended up coming back here and finishing high school out here. But after I graduated, I like didn't know what to do with my life. Like I always kind of knew that like college wasn't something that I wanted to do because like my whole thing was like, I'm not a school person. Like I'm not saying that I wasn't smart, but like I just didn't care enough, I guess you could say, like learning stuff that like I'm never going to use for the rest of my life, and like I still haven't to this day. But it's like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was like, I'm just going to take a gap year, like figure it out. My dad's a carpenter, like a handyman, I guess you could say. So he rebuilds houses. He does everything from like ironwork to plumbing to like flipping an entire house. So like I've learned how to do that since I was a kid as well. So my dad was like, why don't you just come out here and you can work for me for a couple months? Like there's a house that I have, a project you can work on. Like the interior of the house was completely refinished, and he was like, you can live in this house like for free basically, but I have to finish like the exterior and the basement of the house. So I was working on the house that I was living in. Wow. So it's kind of weird, but
yeah, that's like, you need new tile in your bathroom, call Mina. You need to get your lashes done, call Mina.
For real.
You're
it's
just
like
a
two
woman of all
different things.
trades.
Yeah.
Wow, she really is.
Yeah.
But so my question is, tell us like what life is like in Wyoming.
So from where I was from, it's like, okay, I guess I could put it this way. You know, you guys obviously know Kanye West.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he moved to Wyoming?
Okay, yeah.
That's where I lived.
Okay.
So like, I guess you like kind of give you like a familiar area. Obviously it's a very small town. Like it's maybe like 12,000 people total, like population wise. Very small town, very small school. Like everybody knows everybody. Like I was a kid, like I grew up there when I was a kid, and every time I visited, people would just recognize me because like they know my family, or I went to church with them
or
when
her
I was.
Car.
Oh my God! Don't even talk about like first car. That was bad. But just living there is just so different with like just the lifestyle. I mean, like how people dress, how people act, like there's just so many different things, and like I said, like the schooling is just so, like, people called me the smart girl, and like I'm not the smart girl, but I was out there.
Yeah.
So wait, can you like kind of elaborate, like what are the differences?
That's where I get stuck. Like, I've even tried to explain to her. I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I want you to see for yourself almost.
What
like,
would you guys do, like, on a Saturday night? Because here,
oh God,
like, we would be in somebody's basement, jamming to rap music, you know, like, I don't really want to use the term, but
yeah,
having fun.
Sipping on that fun juice, you know. So, like, what, because, like, one of my good friends lives in Arizona, and when I would visit her in Arizona and I would see, like, what they would do on a Saturday night was, like, have a bonfire in the desert. And
that's like what we did.
Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah,
we're in somebody's basement every weekend, you know.
Yeah, it was pretty much like that. Like, we would drive to, like, the mountains or some shit and, like, have a bonfire, or, like, I don't know, there was this place called The Bench. And then there was another place that parties were always at, but I can't remember the name of it. But, like, cops would come and stuff like that. But house parties were a thing, too. Yeah. But, I mean, I was, like, sneaking out. My dad had a curfew of 10:30, and I would have to sneak out every day. And he knows it. Like, I literally told him. But it was just different. Like, I mean, I really don't know how to explain it. Like, I wish I could just, like, show you. I don't know, just from how people act, like how they dress. Like,
how do
that's
they dress?
Oh my God, I'd have to show you. Like, I'm not saying anything bad. Hopefully, no one.
No. See,
no judgment. I'm just curious.
I think, like, this area, from what she's even just showed me, like, this area has more of, like, a streetwear vibe. Like, whereas out there, obviously, I feel like you see a lot of, like, cowboy boots.
Yeah, it's a lot more like Western style.
Boho.
And then there's been a, like, when I was living there was like the Vans was like a thing, but that was like 2016 too.
Wow.
But it's a lot of like the Western wear style that people wear a lot. And like I was coming out there like wearing like crop tops, and like no one really wore that.
Yeah. See, like, I want to go with her so bad, but I'm not even joking. 90% of my closet is made up of crop tops. I'm like, you would have to style me, because I do not
seriously
have the attire for it. But
seriously,
I think this area is really influenced by Chicago and like even Indiana. We have like Indianapolis, and we get that influence from the cities.
Right.
But like places like Wyoming, I feel like are kind of behind in fashion.
Oh yeah.
Which is really interesting, because my mom said before like social media, I lived in a smaller town, and she said they would be like 10 years late to every fashion trend. Yeah. Because it like travels. Yeah. So I wonder if that's what's going on.
Oh yeah. I mean, they just don't care either. Like, fashion's not like a big thing out there. Like, they dress for like the area that they live in, so it makes sense. And I'm not gonna lie, when I'm down there, I kind of just like that too.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, like, you rock this style.
Yeah, you've seen my Western style that I have.
I love it. It's just the thing is, I don't own stuff like that, so I feel like it's a lot like fresh out of Free People catalog. Yeah. You know, like
like turquoise jewelry. I love it though. I like the women Western style, but some shit that the guys wear, I'm like, what are you wearing? Like, that's where it's like, you know. Yeah.
For sure. But I mean, I've always wanted to visit with her ever since we became close. Like, I've just heard about her life out there and stuff, and I'm hoping this summer she brings me. Yeah. So
I want to bring you for sure.
But I mean, I think, like, similarly, talking about schooling, like, growing up in Serbia, I came back to America, and the curriculum for school was so different that I've talked about this in, like, I think the first or the second episode, that I just felt so behind because it was completely different. Like, schooling there was so different, and then when I came here, I was like, what is 5 times 5? No, I'm kidding.
Right, like, it's hard out here.
It is hard out here, especially. So she went to Munster, and everyone from Munster said, there was, like, even people who transferred from Munster to LC and said, like, Munster was so much harder than LC.
It was so hard. Like, they have, like, academic honors or, like, Core 40, and I just started with Core 40, and when I went to Wyoming for 1 year, my GPA rose so much higher. When I came back, they were like, oh, we're going to switch you to academic honors. like when I came back to Munster, and then I failed algebra 2, so I had to go back to core 40. But it's just like the difference and like the schooling and stuff was just, I was like, I might as well just stay out there. I could have gotten like straight A's, but
I'm happy she came back. So you lived there your first year of college. I know you took a gap year, but how did you like it then?
Honestly, like that was the lowest point of my life. Looking back, I didn't know it at the time, but I was just so lost with like my life. I also had a boyfriend, and my one and only boyfriend I've ever had was out there and trying to like navigate a relationship. And then me and my best friend weren't getting along, like my childhood best friend weren't getting along as well. And like just looking back, I was like, that was the lowest point of my life. Like but I didn't know it at the time. Like I couldn't admit it at the time because I really was like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna like fill the void with stuff that like I can do to like distract me. And my whole plan was to stay there for 3 months, and like that was what I actually did. But like having a boyfriend, like, you know, he starts talking about like planning our life together, and like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like who doesn't do that with the boyfriend that they're with? But like in my head, I'm like, I'm not ready for that. Like I'm like, I don't want to marry you. Like I don't want to move in with you. Like I'm not ready for that. And like he was almost convincing me to stay there, but like I was like, no, like I have to go. Like I'm only here for 3-4 months. Like this was my plan. Like I need to go back home. And like I broke the poor kid's heart. But
I think also like when you're, obviously you talked about it being the lowest point in your life and you didn't know it at the time, but when you're like mentally struggling, you kind of trauma bond to somebody. And he was probably that person.
He was.
So like you were probably from a very early point like knew that it wasn't gonna work, but you weren't gonna let it go because you were like, you needed that.
I needed like a comfort. Like
comfort
because he stayed at my house like every day, and like I needed that comfort. And like my childhood best friend like also was in a relationship, and like I did not like him at all. So like me and her kind of butt heads in that way. So, and me and her were both going through our own stuff that we didn't know at the time. So it's like I kind of like bonded with him because I was like, I'm just relying on you for comfort, you know.
So you guys bumped heads because you didn't like her boyfriend?
That was, And then she also, like, you know, was going through her own stuff, and, like, we didn't know how to help each other. So we kind of just, like, got in a little argument.
Yeah, well, that's hard. And especially, like, being out there. Obviously, you had your dad, but, like, living out there on your own, you're obviously, like, very young. I can't even imagine how hard that would be. And then, like, you see her now, and Mina is a very, like, independent, I think you're very strong, like self-aware, and you just want what's best for yourself, you know? Like if I ever am doing something stupid or if I need advice, like the first person I ever go to is Mina, because not only will she talk me off the ledge, but she'll humble my ass real quick. So I think like that situation really taught you like how to be self-sufficient and independent. And though it was, like, a hard struggle at the time, I think it really, like, benefited you in the long run.
Yeah, honestly, like, I wouldn't change it for the world. Because another reason why I moved there was my mom recently, like, got remarried last year. And she obviously started dating him, like, my senior year of high school. And, like, her plan was to move in with him. And, like, that's, like, me moving in with a stranger. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I wasn't close enough with him at the time, so that was also something that I was going through, like because neither of my parents have been with like anyone else other than each other, like after the divorce and stuff. So that was just another thing that was like hard to go through.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. And honestly, like that year of my life, like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world because it's made me to like who I am today. Like I know how to be more independent now. Like I know how to, like I know what I want in life, I guess you could say. Like after going through that, like, I mean, it's not like anything traumatic, but it was just like, you know, like thinking like, what am I doing with my life? But at 19 years old, like I wasn't even in my 20s yet. So I'm like 19 years old trying to figure out what to do with the rest of my life. And I didn't even think about aesthetic school until like 4 months after I got back from Wyoming. Because then I got that tanning salon job when I got back. And I was just like, pushing by every day, working at a tanning salon, and that was it. Not knowing.
I think our generation has this like pressure to know exactly what they want to do right after they graduate high school.
Oh yeah.
And we've talked about this before. Like, we're just kind of thrown in the wilderness. Like, oh, good luck. Like,
right.
Figure it out.
Right.
And like, how are you supposed to know like who you're going to be at 19?
Right.
I also think our generation just doesn't want to struggle. Like, we all, like, right from the jump, we want to know exactly what we're doing with our lives. We want to make money and we want to be successful. And like the reality of life is you start somewhere, and 9 times out of 10 the place you start is not the place you end. It's not the place you necessarily want to be, but like going through those things is what drives you to achieve, you know, your full potential.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, it's hard. Like, even now I'm like, what am I doing? I have no idea. But I think she works full time, and as an esthetician, you know, your schedule is essentially like you work on the weekends. So she works full time. She works on the weekends, and I am honestly like, I applaud her because she's very hardworking. You know, her hours are tough. She works a lot, but she never complains. Like, she's had this job for a long time, and she's really good at it also, but you know, not everyone our age can do that. So I mean, I give you credit. Like, I can't do that. I take off work all the time. Sorry, boss. But you know, like, if there's a weekend, something going on, like, I don't have the strength like her to be like, well, can't do it, like, I'm working. You know.
So you have a lot of self-discipline.
Yeah, it had to take some getting used to, because like literally, so I've had the job for like over a year now, but last summer was when I got the job, and I almost had like a mental breakdown because none of my friends were on that like wave yet. Like, everyone was still in college, and like obviously some people like had jobs and stuff, but like this is my career that I was starting, and I had a little breakdown, and I'm like, this is just scary, like starting your career, you know, like it was just scary for me. Like, I didn't know what the future was gonna hold, like, so I just kind of freaked out. And like obviously all my friends, like, they're like, you're gonna do great, you're gonna love it, blah blah blah. And it did take some getting used to, like, self-discipline, like you said, like deciding when I want to go out. And obviously I'll go out more now, but I just won't like drink or anything, because like I refuse to feel like that the next day at work. Like, I'm there to do my job, I'm not there to be like hungover, and like, you know, it just reflects on like my work and stuff. But like she even knows, like, there's times where like I'll say I'll go out and I have work the next day, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going anywhere.
It's more often than not.
Yeah, but
yeah. And one thing Mina talked about the other day to me was like her having to learn how to have fun being sober around people who are drinking and drunk, which like like, you know, every now and then you get stuck being the DD, but you drive a lot, because when you do go out, like, usually you have work the next day, so you don't drink. And like, how has that made you feel?
Honestly, like, it was kind of annoying at first. Honestly, you guys know what I mean. Like, going out and like when everyone's drunk, you're just like, oh my god, this literally sucks. But I mean, you guys are all my best friends, so like when I go out, I still have fun with you no matter what. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, of course I wish I was like drunk, but like I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, life's not all about like getting drunk. Like, it's just about like being with the people that you love, like having fun, like having a fun night. Like, you don't have to be drunk all the time. So I feel like just realizing that, like, okay, like, I'm having fun, like, not drunk, like, you know, it's not that hard, but it just takes some getting used to, because they're especially if everyone's there, like, let's say like it's like Blackout Wednesday, like when everyone comes home, and like I'll be getting off of work at 9:00 and I'll probably like meet everyone out, but like just something like that, like let's say I'd work the next day, whatever, if it wasn't Thanksgiving, but like, you know what I mean? Like, trying to be sober in front of like all these people that are drunk, like, it could be annoying, but like it just takes a while.
But you have the personality, like, you don't need to be drunk. You're outgoing. You're easy to talk to. Like, you're an interesting person. Like, unfortunately, we know people who cannot go out without being drunk.
I was like, gonna say, most people probably wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I could. Like, I would at least need to have a beer or two, but she's like stern about it. Like, she literally won't drink. And we do know a lot of people who like go out, and this isn't me throwing shade. Like, there are times when my social battery is literally at 0 until I start drinking. but fortunately, like, you have a personality where I feel like you don't need to be drunk, and maybe that's like developed through your job. But
definitely.
But yeah, it is hard because we are in, especially now that like we're all legal and stuff. Everyone wants to drink. Everyone like that's one thing that sucks about living in a place like Indiana. There's not anything to do besides drink. So, like, I guess that would be one thing that's good about living in Wyoming. Like, there's things to do outside. There's, like, she goes to the rodeo and stuff like that.
Snowboarding.
Yeah.
I want to teach you how to snowboard.
Oh, God.
Like, in the winter, like, every single weekend we would go, like, snowboarding or skiing.
Wow.
Because it's, like, 15, 20 minutes, like, from where we live.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's actually stuff to do out there. That's what I miss about it. But
So going back to that, like, Indiana and Wyoming, two very different places.
I know, yeah.
What was, like, your biggest culture shock?
Culture shock. I mean, this isn't really a culture shock, I guess you could say, but living in Wyoming, you don't have secrets. Like, everybody knows everything. People talk shit. People, like, find things out. Like, there was not a single thing that nobody would find out about me because everybody, like, would just gossip.
Yeah.
And it was hard, like, trying to, like, if I liked a boy, like, whatever, like, oh, people would know the next day that, like, I did,
I feel like I can relate to that a little bit because I come from a very small town, about 7,000 people.
Damn, that's small.
Do you know where Rensselaer is?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, we passed through it.
I'm from Rensselaer.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I relate to that because everyone knows everything about everybody. And especially if your family's been there forever, like on TikTok, you know, they say founding families.
Yeah.
I was part of like a founding family, I guess.
Really?
So everyone knows like my whole family.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's Tom's granddaughter. Like, oh, what are you doing? Are you staying out of trouble? And
right.
they would tattle on me if I was doing something bad, or they would, I don't know, just know everything.
That's how the Serbian community is, and like my grandparents are very well known people in the Serbian community. Like my grandmother writes for the Serbian newspaper, and I can relate to that as well. Like when something, I wouldn't say everyone knows absolutely everything, because obviously like growing up with more American people, like maybe not everything gets back to the Serbs, but like within the Serbian community, there's not very many secrets, and there's a lot of judgment too, and like that's something that's hard, especially when you're a kid and parents are judging you, and it's like I'm a kid, you know, that's life. You make mistakes and stuff, but let me ask this question. What is like the peak in the pit of Wyoming? Like your favorite thing, your least favorite thing, and then I want to ask you the same question about Indiana.
I feel like my peak of Wyoming is that I just, like, I love it. Like, I love the area. It's just gorgeous. Like, I love being there. I love the scenery. I do love the people. Like, people are just so nice. And I just love, like, the air. I don't know. There's just something about being there that is like, oh my God, I love this. Like, every time I come back in the summer, I'm, like, crying all the time because I miss it so much. But like every time I live there, I'm like, I just can't live here. Like, it's just weird, you know what I mean? Because honestly, like, that Western lifestyle is what I want in life. Like, I want to live on a ranch. Like, I want to marry a cowboy. My dream.
She wants a cowboy.
I want to marry a cowboy. Like, that's just like what I want in life. So like I wouldn't go back to where I lived, but just something like that. It's just being like there is just so peaceful. Like, I feel like there's nothing wrong. Like, it's just so peaceful, like, being there, you know?
But I think that with that, you know, that comes with it being a place where you visit, you know, because you get the perfect happy medium of being there, whereas, like, if you were to live there, then you would start to see, you know, like, point out the things that you dislike about it more. You know, everything is great in moderation.
Yeah, I get along with friends out here better than I do there. Like, I pretty much only have guy friends out there and like 2 girlfriends. I mean, my cousins live out there, but my one cousin just moved to Kansas, so like she's not even there anymore. But like, I just get along with, like, girls never liked me when I lived out there.
Because she's hot.
No, like, I think I was just...
They don't like the Indiana gals.
Yeah, people just said I was from Chicago, and I would just go along with it. I'm like, sure, like, Chicago, whatever.
It sounds cooler than Indiana.
Yeah. But the pitch was, I guess, like, I don't know, like, living there. I guess you could say. Because when I was living there, it's completely different. Like, I get more bored. Like, every time I visit, I visit for, like, a week, so I'm cramming so much to do in 1 week, and it's so much fun. But every time I lived there, I'm like, okay, like, I'm bored. Like, you know, and like I said, like, I get along with people better out here. And I was judged a lot, like, when I lived there as well. Like, any little thing I did, like, I was judged for it. But, yeah, just, like, living there was not as fun as visiting, I feel like. So now I just visit.
For sure. But, yeah. So now Indiana.
Mm-hmm. I'm still not staying here either.
Yeah, I know. Me either. But let's hear your peaks and your peak and pit of Indiana.
I mean, peak, obviously, that I have a lot of family and friends out here, too. Pit, there's nothing to do. Like, I've been wanting to take, like, my friends snowboarding forever. Like, we were planning, like, a birthday trip. But I'm like, well, there's not going to be snow in December, like, the first week of December. And we have to drive, like, 2 hours. But, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to do out here. And I'm not a city girl. Like, I don't like going to the city, honestly. Which I feel bad because you love the city. I do. And she tries to tell me to come, and I'm like, girl, you know I hate it. But I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, like, Mina is very, independent, and she's very comfortable, and, like, we always talk about how on weekends she's so okay with just sitting at home, like, relaxing and stuff, whereas me, like, I'm on the go. And I think a big part of that is because I think, not to sound like Debbie Ryan, but, like, being still scares me. No.
Did you do this thing, too?
I was literally imagining that in my head.
Oh, my God.
Being still scares me. No, but actually, like, I like being alone, but I am the type of person, like, I feel like I need to be making memories at all times. So that's why I'm always like, oh, I'll go to the city. I'm down to do spontaneous things. And Mina's like, girl, like, you know I need 3 weeks in advance notice. And I'm like, come on, just, like, be spontaneous. And she won't. She literally won't.
But I feel like it's good that we're both opposites in that way because, like,
for sure, we balance each other.
Yeah, like, there's been times where I've saved you from, like,
doing
something stupid because I'm like, okay, let's just stay home.
More times than not.
Yeah.
I always say, like, the best nights I have are when Mina's around. For some reason, whenever she's not around, bad things happen to me.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I even told you.
Charm.
That's what I said. I'm like, I don't know why, but, like, anything bad that has happened to you when I'm not there.
Anything.
Literally anything. Like, I don't know what it is.
Like, when we were at IU this past weekend, the best time. Neither one of us at any point were, like, too drunk, did anything stupid. Like, we were just good vibes, there for a good time. And then the weekend prior, I was at IU, and it was still a great time, but I was like, it wasn't as much fun as it was when, like, I had my best friend there, you know, if that makes sense. So.
Well, also, me and her, like, don't go there, so, like, we don't know people.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have, like, because she's, like, a grade above me, so, like, my friends are seniors there, so I have, like, friends there, but still, like, it's not like we can go to the bar alone.
Yeah.
It'd be like, who are these girls?
Weird for us.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because I thought I was the only person that thought that. Like, whenever I go to Purdue or IU, I'm like, I feel so awkward because I don't go here.
Well, our other best friend, Riley, she went there last year, and her, like, core group from there, they're all a grade younger than me and her. So when we go there, like, we hang out with that group, which is fun because, like, they have the big group,
and they, like, know people
and they know people. So it's never an issue, you know, when we're with Riley. But, like, for me and Mina to just go alone, because, like, there was on Saturday, like, the group who we were gonna go out with, they kind of, like, weren't really, like, feeling the vibes of going out, and me and Mina were like, screw it, like, let's just go out.
Because they started on Thursday, and we got there Friday, and I feel like Thursday's a day that, like, really sets, like, you know, the tone. And, like, if you have a lot of fun Thursday, like, you're gonna be dead the rest of the week. So we get there Friday, and, like, Friday was fun.
We're ready to go.
Saturday, like, we started getting ready, and then we get to their apartment, and they're, like, not ready yet. And I was like, wait, like, do we go without them? Like, they're like, you guys can go. And I was like, okay, but, like, we don't know anyone.
What do we do? Like, who do we talk to? It's literally just gonna be me and her standing alone at the bar, buying each other shots back and forth, like, getting each other so drunk just to feel like we fit in there.
Yeah, pretend like we go there.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way, and it's so awkward when someone comes up and it's like, oh, what's your major? And you say it, and they're like, oh, did you have so-and-so? And like, oh, I don't go here.
Right. Well, no, the worst is when they're like, are you in a house? I'm like, I don't even have a house here.
I used to lie about it. I'm not kidding. I used to lie. Like, I wanted to tell people my name was Victoria and, like, make up this whole, like,
we have
like,
lies. I love that.
No, like, it's so fun.
This is Victoria, and I'm Carrington. But
yeah.
We usually get too drunk to even remember.
Yeah, we literally forget. We literally forget. But my friend Kat, she's in a sorority there. So, like, every time I would be with her, like, I'd be like, dude, can I just tell people I'm in your sorority? She goes, yeah, like, nobody will know. And nobody does know. Yeah. They're like, all right, that's cool. That's cool.
Half the time when I tell people I go to Indiana University Northwest, they just assume Indiana University. Yeah. I just give up. I'm like,
yeah, it's too hard to explain. And when they're like, oh, like, you go to IU, I'm like, no, I go to school in Gary. Which, nothing wrong with it. Like, we've made the best out of going to school here for sure. I wouldn't change my experience for the world. But, like, when you're talking to a stranger and you say IU, like, they immediately associate you with the big IU, and I'm like, I just don't have the heart to explain to you that I go to a satellite school.
I mean, it's the same shit, but it's like...
Same degree.
Yep. Yeah, right, same degree.
It's just so funny, because they're like, oh, do you love Bloomington? I'm like, yeah.
I do love it. That's the thing, is, like, I love going there, but I will not be returning anytime soon. Like, I can only imagine the things people are saying about me being there 3 times this year. Like, there's no reason why I needed to go that much. It's honestly embarrassing, and if you've been talking your shit, I hear
like,
you.
We know.
We know. I get it. Trust me. But, like, I'm not going to apologize because I've had a blast. And, like, it's nice to get away from here every once in a while. And also, like, give me a break. I didn't go away to school like that. So if I want to have my occasional send there, then I will.
Right.
And we've had a really good time. Like, the first time we went this year, we went for the Serb tailgate. And, like, my older sister went. Like, a big group of the Serbs from over here, and we had so much fun. And
I was only there for one day, and I had so much fun.
You want to talk about being spontaneous? Like, this was a proud moment.
Yeah.
Like, I had of her because she did work on Saturday, and she ended up, you know, like...
So, like, with my job, obviously... like, when I want to request off, I have to do it, like, months prior, like, a month in advance. This was, like, the week of. Yeah. And I asked, and thank God she said yes. I have the best boss in the world. But it was just Saturday, too, because I was off Sunday anyways. But I literally left at 7 a.m. Saturday morning. And I was like, all right, let's get it. Like, it's time to have fun.
And that was honestly, like, the most fun we've had together in a really long time. Like, we had a lot of fun this past weekend, but I think... Serb tailgate was so fun because it was so spontaneous, and like I didn't think that she was actually going to be able to come. So when she did come, like knowing that she only had one day there, like
literally one day, like 24 hours.
We were literally at the bar, and I'm not even exaggerating, for 10 hours straight.
Yeah,
like it's kind of scary to think of how much alcohol we consumed that day
without food.
Just and like neither one of us like blacked out. Well, I mean. Nah. Towards the end of the night. Did
you or no?
No, I mean, we were both, neither one of us, like, passed out or, like, she had a little yak sesh.
Okay, oh my God, I forgot. I did. That was so embarrassing.
She rallied, though.
It happens
to
us all.
I don't get sick when I drink, but I'm like, every time I go out, I'm like, make sure I eat. Because, like, I have bad stomach issues. So, like, if I don't eat and I'm drinking, like, I will... be hungover for 3 days. So of course we didn't eat. I mean, we were at the bar for 10 hours, and I'm just there to have a good time for 24 hours. That's it. And then I got to go home. So I know when like I'm gonna get sick. So I got up, go to the bathroom, and I didn't lock the store door. The door stall door. Okay. And I'm doing my thing, and I turn around, and these girls are like, are you okay? I'm like, oh my God, did you just see that whole thing? And I didn't even tell them that I went to the bathroom, but I mean, I come out, start drinking again, because you gotta do what you gotta do.
I didn't get sick that night, but then the following day, like, her and I drove home together, and we were in the Wendy's parking lot, and I got so sick. Like, it was a good thing that I puked before we got, like, on the road to go home, because I was unwell. Like, I did damage to that Wendy's parking lot, throwing up, and it was bad. But this past weekend, like I said,
we were good. We were
Mina's mom,
like too drunk.
She made us eat before. Not even made me, like, we got like Jimmy John's. She had her butter noodles.
I made butter noodles
with salt.
And I ate that after I got home, and that's what cured my
hangover. So Saturday of this past weekend, like, both of us were so behaved. Yeah. Neither one of us were, like, bad or anything. And then the next day, we both woke up early, drove home, and Mina kept saying, like, oh my God, like, I can't even believe I'm not hungover. And we were, like, both just shocked. So good.
I was, because I get so hungover lately because I don't drink anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, last summer, like, we would drink, like, every day.
So this is kind of, like, where me and Mina's friendship really took off. So
yeah, I guess we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, so as I briefly mentioned, like, Mina and I got close through a girl.
Like an old friend.
Yeah, an old friend.
Because we don't even talk to her anymore. Yeah,
at all.
We just did our own thing.
Yeah, so basically, like, something happened with this girl and me and her, so we kind of, like, veered off. And
it was like the trio, and now it's
now it's just us two. We kind of ditched her, I guess you could say.
Yeah, she also kind of ditched us, though, to be fair. Like, but we, like, veered off and did our own thing, and her stepsister graduated from USC, and so her mom and her stepdad went to California for her college grad, and
for, like, a whole week.
She, like, lives in this really nice house. It's really big, and, like, I would even be a little bit spooked to stay there alone. So she basically was like, you're staying with me all week. Like, I literally packed a suitcase.
Yeah, I was like, pack your shit.
I think
like,
I only went home, like, twice to grab things, like clothes and stuff. And so I moved in for the week, and she has a really nice backyard, like a pool. We ended up buying a slip and slide, a kiddie pool, because her pool wasn't open at the time. And for a week straight, we just
literally just drank every day.
We drank, we partied, but, like, above all, we just had so much fun, and that's when, like, we became inseparable.
Yeah, because I feel like if that week didn't happen, honestly, I feel like we wouldn't be as close.
No. We would be close, but that, like, ignited, like
our friendship,
our sister mans.
Yeah.
So that was such a fun week, and, like, to this day, we literally talk about it, because that was at the beginning of summer last year, and we were like...
it was, like, May.
Yeah, we were like, oh my God, if summer is gonna be like... Or if the rest of the summer is gonna be like, this is gonna be the greatest summer of our lives. And we did have a really fun summer, but nothing can compare to that week. Like, when we just hung out all week, like... We got so tan. It was just I had
people over, like, every day. And obviously my parents knew. Like, it's not like I was doing it behind their back. But I had people over every day. Like, we just got so close. Like, drinking every day. I mean, it was a lot of fun. But, like, obviously that's probably never going to happen again.
Never. And that's fine. Because that's something to do when you're young. Now I feel like the idea of throwing a week-long party is kind of, like...
Like, no,
psychotic.
I want to cry. Yeah.
But... that's how, like, our friendship really took off, and then the rest has been history, and, and then at the end of the summer, she started working full-time, so I lost her.
She never saw me again.
I lost her to the beauty parlor, but it's fine, because we have great times still, and I think her working full-time now, just, like, the times that we do have together are way more special, you know, so...
Yeah, we talk about each other like we're, like, long-lost dating. No, we literally... No, that too. Like, people are probably like, oh my God, they're probably lesbians. We're not, just so you know.
I would. I mean, look at her. No.
We talk about each other like we're, like, long-lost siblings. No, like, you know.
Do you have anybody like that?
Yeah, yes and no. I had a really close friend in high school. We kind of grew apart, but we were like sisters. I would say Bren and I are pretty close, but I don't know. It's weird in my scenario because I live with my boyfriend, so, like, it's a little different.
Her and her boyfriend have been dating for 7 years.
Shut up.
They live in Valpo together. They're, like...
He's great.
He's awesome.
Wait, so you guys dated in, like, high school and stuff?
Yeah, we actually started in middle school.
I was gonna say, is that, like, middle school?
Can you tell her about yours and Ben's, like...
relationship.
Upbringing.
Yeah. So from the small town, so everybody knows everything about everybody, and I met Ben when I was in 8th grade, and he was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, so he's a little older.
Yes, but that's like super taboo. Like, he's a high schooler. I can't be dating a high schooler.
Right.
So we dated in secret for a year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I kind of love that.
Fun.
That is so
like,
fun.
He's so fun.
I love that.
And then we started dating in high school, and rest is history. Yeah.
That's so cute. Do you guys talk about like getting married and stuff?
Yeah, I'm waiting on the ring.
I was gonna say, like, are
years?
you like at that stage where it's like, okay, put a ring on it? Like,
yes. I mean, it's so weird though, because like a lot of my friends aren't engaged, and like we're all at different stages. But I'm like, 7 years is a long time.
Yeah,
like, I'm ready.
Well, that's another thing with Wyoming and here is 5 of my friends have gotten engaged in the past like 2 weeks.
Literally, her friend just got engaged this past Saturday.
My childhood
She's
best
like,
friend just got engaged. Yeah.
So.
It's like, no, and it's funny because like my brother like lives out there, and he talks about like wanting to find someone, but because his best friend already has 2 kids. My brother's only like 24, and his best friend has 2 kids already, and like literally people that like I went to high school with like have kids and are engaged now.
I forgot to mention, over the past weekend I went to a baby shower. One of my best friends, I played soccer with her. She had to quit soccer because she found out she was pregnant.
Yikes.
So
I go, oh, she goes, yikes.
There's 2 different people in the room.
Yeah.
But we went to her baby shower. It was really nice. But then I was thinking, this is like my 6th baby shower this year.
Really? Like
yeah.
of friends you know?
People I know, friends I know, family. But I'm like, wow, everyone's like having kids and getting married. And
you're my age, right?
Yeah.
So you're 21?
Yeah.
Honestly, if you think about it, like 20s are the time. We're too young. Like,
yeah.
In my head, I'm like 21's a little young unless you're ready for it. Like I get it.
I can't take care of myself.
I feel like you would be ready for it, just because
I feel like you'd be ready for engagement.
Also, engagement,
yeah.
But I feel like you would need to have like a 2-year engagement instead of like 1 year.
Feel, yeah.
Because you're so young, and that's the truth. Is like when she talks about how people in Wyoming are like popping out kiddos, I'm like, dude, what? Like I just had my first real boyfriend. Went terribly, but
no,
I'm just saying, like, the idea of getting married, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
I just still feel like a baby, so it's weird.
Right.
I'm also so immature. Like, let's just be real. Like, I'm, like, barely responsible for myself.
I was going to say, you can barely take care of yourself. You can't take care of another child.
No, I mean, hey, I can take care of myself, but, like, I'm
nowhere
near, like, ready for that. That's, like...
Yeah.
mental to me, and kudos to the people who are in that stage of life at this age, but it ain't me. And I mean, I want to date somebody for at least like 4 years before I get engaged.
Me too.
And when you think about it, okay, so hypothetically speaking, I'm 22 years old now. If I were to meet somebody, I don't know, within the next year, date them for 4 years, I mean, I'm not looking at having kids until I'm, like, in my 30s.
Yeah.
But I want to be a MILF.
Me
so,
too.
Like,
I want to have my first by, like, 28.
Yeah.
But that's not
looking too good for me.
Yeah,
so.
you never know. There might be some cowboys watching this right now.
Oh, my God.
Yes,
Please, if you're watching, hit me up.
But, like, your 20s are, like, time to, like, find yourself and, like, do the things you want to do. Try new things. And, I mean, I have mad respect for people who are having kids right now because... I'm like, I couldn't do it, but you're doing it and you're doing great. So,
yeah.
Do you still, I have a question for you. Do you still feel like you're like able to have fun at like that age, even though you've been in a relationship for like 7 years? Like you guys have like that good like dynamic, like,
yeah, he's very chill. So like, I'll go out with my friends and he'll be like, okay, like I can pick you up whenever. Like,
I love that.
It's very
He's
chill.
awesome.
Yeah.
But also, when you like are with somebody for that long, I feel like they become like your other half. And if you don't have that trust with somebody after that long, then like clearly you're not meant to be in a relationship together.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys have been together for 7 years and you're still freaking out every time they walk out the door, then like, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with that.
No, he literally is so nonchalant. Like, he has so much trust in me, and I have so much trust in him. We're kind of just like, yeah, you can do your own thing.
You're like already a married couple, you know?
Seriously,
yeah. And no, but like you said, that your 20s are for like finding yourself. after getting out of a relationship, like, the last thing on earth I want right now is a relationship to be with anybody. Like, I just want to focus on me, focus on having fun, and, like, making up for that time that I missed when I was so consumed in someone else, and, like, reinvesting that into myself.
And you have so much time.
Also, like, you know the motto, when you are looking for somebody, like, when your only goal in life is to find a significant other, like, you're going to settle for the first average Joe that walks in your life, and it's not going to work out. But when you are fully focused on yourself and not finding somebody else, that's when that person just
like, everything will fall into place.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, like, that's one thing about Mina is, like, she don't settle. Like, she will
not
picky settle.
She's like, I'm so picky. It's not even funny.
And that's something, like, I've learned through her is, like, it's important who you allow into your life. And I've learned through her, like, you're, like, if you don't look at yourself as being special, then nobody else is going to look at you as special. Like,
yeah,
you kind of manifest the people in your life by the way you view yourself. So
definitely,
she doesn't settle, and, like, there's been so many guys who have tried with her and, like, genuinely want to date her, and she's like,
no.
I mean, I never thought I would be dating someone from middle school. Like, I always thought I'd meet someone in college or, like, I don't know, have to go to Europe to find them. But
for real.
But I just got lucky. Like, I literally struggled. And I remember making, like, you know, the perfect man list. And he hits, like, everyone.
Really?
Like, I'm picky. Like, I'm very picky. But, like, I come from this small town, but there happens to be this, like, gorgeous 6'8" man, like,
well,
Abraham
you guys,
Lincoln.
sounds like you guys, like, grew up together, too. Like, I mean, you've been dating for 7 years, so, like...
we have so much history, and
yeah,
we know
and
everybody.
you both have changed into the people that you are today, too, like, together. You know what I mean?
Just, like, rubbing the microphone, I think. No, I feel like yours and Ben's situation is literally, like, 1 in a million. Because let's be real, like, how many people do we know who meet at that young age and then actually stay together? Like,
yeah, like, that's a cute
I don't think we
story.
even know anybody who's like that from our areas.
I mean,
I know one couple that I went to middle school with, and they've been together since, like, 6th or 7th grade probably. But other than that, like, no.
Yeah, nothing middle school. I know one, like, high school.
Sure.
Damn, life does move really fast.
I know. Like, how am I already 22 years old?
I was going to say, like, I just remember being, like, 8 or 9 and being like, I can't wait till I'm 16, or, like, I can't wait till I'm 21. Like, damn, I wish I was, like, 8 or 9.
I know.
Like, I wish I was a kid
we were
again.
trick-or-treating tonight.
I know.
You know. Life does happen very fast. And, like, I think the big thing about life these days is now, like, working a full-time job and stuff, I constantly find myself, like, wanting the week to get by just so I can make it to the weekend and stuff, and, like, stop wishing your life away. Like, that's what I try to tell myself is, like, live in the moment, like, stop looking for the next best thing, you know, like, life is happening, and if you don't take a step back every once in a while, like, one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna say, where the hell did all this time go? And that's like the worst feeling in the world. So I'm just trying to be more mindful about, like, appreciating where I'm at in life, and, like, reminding myself that I'm here for a reason, and, like, I'm gonna achieve everything I want out of life. And
like, we have our, like, our, I saw something the other day, like, saying, like, our life hasn't even started yet. And I was telling you that on the drive. I was like, dude, like, if you think about it, our lives haven't even started. Like, we haven't gotten married yet. We haven't had kids yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't bought a house yet.
Literally.
Like, stuff like that, I feel like is, like, your life. Like, maybe my life just started because, like, I'm starting my career, and, like, that was a big step in my life. But, like, really, like, it hasn't, because, like, I still haven't gotten married, had kids, whatever. Like, there's just so many more, like, big stepping stones in people's lives that, like, you haven't hit yet, and it makes you think, like, damn, like, every little thing that I'm worried about right now, like, really doesn't matter, you know?
My favorite quote is, like, the world hasn't seen the best of you yet. And it's true. Like, you still have so much to achieve and accomplish in this life, and, like, that's promising, you know?
Yeah.
So my last question for you, Mina, is going back to your career. how did you end up, like, did you have a light bulb moment, or did it kind of just fall into place?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I've always been into beauty stuff. Like, I've always loved doing my hair, like getting ready, doing skincare, and like I struggled with really bad acne throughout high school as well.
Well, your skin looks flawless now.
Thank you.
So annoying.
Thank you. I mean, it took a while to get clear, but I did struggle with like really bad skin, and like I was really into like skincare, just everything beauty. And honestly, like, I had lash extensions for a couple years, and I never really, aesthetics wasn't like a big thing. It was always hair, like cosmetology. I mean, even when people ask what I am, I'm like, oh, I'm an esthetician. They're like, oh, so you do hair? And I'm like, no, like I don't. That's like cosmetology, but people get it like mixed up.
Yeah.
But it was always like cosmetology, so aesthetics wasn't really a big thing for a while. And honestly, I never heard of it. And then I asked my lash tech one day, I'm like, are you an esthetician? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, can you like talk to me about it? Show me everything. And I was like, okay, like I could see myself doing that. And honestly, at the time, I was like kind of just searching for something that I was interested into to like say that I could start something. So honestly, I did just kind of do it off of a whim. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was like, I'm gonna go to aesthetic school. And I went in Oak Brook, Illinois, so I drove like an hour and 15 minutes to school.
Wow.
But I only had class Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 9 to 5, so like it was only 3 days a week.
Still, that's a lot.
That is
Yeah.
a lot. And
I
9 to 5.
loved it though, honestly. Yeah. Like, and you have to get 750 hours, so it took me like 8 or 9 months to complete. But I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of do it off of a whim. I was like, okay, like I'd be interested in this. I'm like, there's so many different outlooks with that, with the industry. Like, you can either be just a lash tech, you can either work in a salon, you can make your own salon, like rent a booth, like just so many different things. You can be an educator, like there's just so much stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I ended up loving it. And the salon that I work at now, I was actually a client before.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
so
full circle.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky because obviously, like, I know people that like work there, and I was like, I'm gonna apply. I was getting my hair done, and the lady that does my hair, like, she was like the hair manager, or she is, and I was like, I'm gonna apply. She goes, oh my god, yes, please apply. And when I did, I got a call like 2 hours later for an interview, and I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. But it was kind of just on a whim, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I love my job. I love the people I work with. I love the industry. Like, I'm learning something new every day. And honestly, like, I love my clients. Like, my clients tell me their entire life, and it's like funny because like I don't know who they're talking about. So like I'm like their therapist, but like, yeah, I do love like the industry, and honestly, like, I'm glad I didn't go to college because I feel like I would still be searching to this day if I went to like, because I was enrolled at IUN, but the week that I was supposed to pick my classes, I literally like dropped out. I'm like, I'm not going.
Wow.
So
Could have been a Red Hawk.
Yeah, I could have been in Red Hawk Media with y'all.
Well, I mean, you're here now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our episode today.
Yeah, this was so fun.
I want to thank Mina so much for coming on here and being vulnerable and talking about her life and her journey and everything. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
It's
for
been
having
so much fun.
me.
It's been great having you.
And this was such a fun episode to record.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.